Hello and welcome back to the CFCTALK podcast. I'm your host, Mohammad Soleja. As always, we're joined by the usual co-host, Alex and Amart. Even though he did miss the last episode, he's back tonight to review a debatable performance against Leeds. A lot of fans left unhappy after that draw. But tonight we're also joined by a guest, Nick Williams from that Chelsea podcast. And if you haven't heard of that podcast, I'm sure you're living under a rock, one of the finest podcasts based on Chelsea over the internet. I usually do listen to it every week whenever I do get the opportunity to do so. Nick, welcome to the podcast. Um, we've done this before, but how are you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Listeners are gonna know this. This is like take two. So thank you again for for twice messaging out saying how much you like my podcast. It means a lot, and I'm very happy to be on with you boys. And fingers crossed the recording goes well this time.
Yep, hopefully it does. Alex, welcome back to the podcast. I should say that as well for you. But how are you feeling? How's your week been so far?
It's been a pretty hectic week, I'd say, with university interviews and things. But yeah, really happy to be on, and don't see anything getting in the way of being on CFCTALK every other couple of days. So yeah, really happy to be on, and I definitely missed it. So great to be on again, and for the future.
Amart, welcome. How are you feeling? How's your day gone?
Yeah, I mean, we drew. It was a disappointing game, but my my game my day has been kind of okay, just except for the draw. I think.
I think yeah. Overall, I think it wasn't the best of games, but just for our viewers, our talking points for tonight. We'll first discuss the lineup and the change in formation with a bit of a surprise, as fans were left wondering whether we were playing three at the back and Pulisic as right wing back or playing four at the back. The first half snooze fest, as Amart likes to call it, as well as the problems in attack and the inability to finish the chances that we were creating. Poor performance from Khakim, Ziak and Christian Pulisic, and then an average performance from both Mason Mount and Kai Havertz. Kai, of course, failing to score tonight. Um, Chilwell, I think not the best of performances from him. He's been getting a lot of stick from the fans as well, and even though we've got so many negatives from this game, a lot of positives as well. Good performances from Rudiger, Kante, and of course Edouard Mendy, who keeps his 19th clean sheet in Chelsea now. Still have only conceded 2 goals under Thomas Tuchel. Callum Hudson-Odoi and Werner's performances off the bench, which will be very important to talk about as well as we head into Atletico midweek, and then a disappointing result, of course, drawing against Leeds, and then Atletico Madrid in the midweek, and then we'll give our predicted lineups for those. I want to start off by a question to Nick. Nick, a game where we really thought we were going to win. Leeds is kind of a team which is known for either playing games as if they're prime Barcelona and winning the games, or they'll shut off and completely lose the game. I don't really see Leeds as a game who end up drawing many times. Is this in a sense a loss for Chelsea, or if we look at it in an overall perspective, from the Man United game, so basically between both the Atletico games, is this still a good performance from Chelsea, or we could have done better tonight and then we could have taken the 3 points home?
Well, it's certainly not a good performance. I think that's fair to say. I think it's probably been our worst performance under Tuchel so far, if we're being perfectly honest. In terms of a bigger picture, like you said, from Atletico to where we are now, if you'd said to Chelsea fans we'd take 8 points from those 4 games, I think most people would have, been pretty happy with that. I would have been pretty happy with that. I think it's just frustrating that given the 2 brilliant performances we've seen recently against Liverpool and Everton, to be brought back down to earth with that performance today is frustrating, but then again, it's perhaps not all that surprising given, from what we know supporting Chelsea. I wouldn't say it feels like a loss. I think it certainly helped the fact that Everton have lost at home to Burnley today. That helps us massively. So there's a point gained on Everton if you want to think about it that way. But it certainly means Everton missed a chance to punish us. And then if United beat West Ham tomorrow, and if Arsenal can get a result against Spurs, this point doesn't look that bad. It's still obviously a disappointing result because we should be beating Leeds. But yeah, it's not the end of the world, but it wasn't really a good performance at all. And so I do think it's probably our worst performance under Thomas Tuchel so far.
Alex, would you agree with Nick on that one, or what's your opinions on this game?
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair take on it. Like, we just kind of in the second half. We kind of just there wasn't really anything happening in the first half. We had chances. Havertz, I think, in the game got 4 shots on target, but so we were definitely testing the keeper. But anything really of note in the game in terms of creating chances, I can't really think of many. The closest I think we really came was when one of the Leeds defenders decided to clear the ball into the head of another Leeds defender, hit the crossbar, and then bounce back into the keeper's hands. So, yeah, just not a great performance in that we're not really creating particularly good quality chances. And it seems like in the final third, we're just kind of getting a bit, what's the word? We just get a bit nervous. I think I thought we did well to play around Leeds for a lot of the game, but whenever we got into the final thirds, other than that one decent Rudiger shot, and I think Mount took a decent long shot in the first half, just not a great performance. But there were still positives. I think, good performances from Rudiger, from Kante looked really, really good today, I thought, and same for Mendy as well. So still positives, but yeah, overall, it's a game that, considering Leeds are quite a leaky team defensively, we really should be doing better, and it's a little bit worrying. I think that, for the rest of the season, pretty much, that we're not really scoring much.
Yeah, I think both of you mentioned the finishing in the final third. Amart, this was kind of a game where we knew it was going to be a tactical game where both managers are going to try and bring in as much tactics as they can. A game where I think Timo Werner would have probably enjoyed a lot of this game because of the fact that Leeds keep a high line and Chelsea would like to play through balls, and I think we did see that throughout the game. Werner not starting, your thoughts on that? Is this a sign that we need to sign a striker in the summer? And the situation with Tammy?
Yeah. So on the issue of signing a striker, I think we definitely need to sign a striker because right now it doesn't really look like we have any kind of finishing threats like in our attack at all. Like Alex said, when we get to the final third, there's this kind of nervousness and there's this kind of hesitation to whether take a shot or to pass the ball or whatever it is that they need to do. Like they're not really decisive in their decisions. So probably if we get a striker that can score goals, like we've seen it in the past before, like we've seen strikers bring out the best in the attackers around them. I think we saw it with Drogba a lot of times, and we saw it with Costa too as well. Like when there's a striker that is scoring goals, a striker that is finishing chances, like you see it like spread around, like you see it that the other players also want to chip in. Like this kind of nervousness, this kind of lack of confidence might leave a bit. And then on the issue of Werner not starting, I wasn't really surprised because considering the way he performed in the last game, I think we all kind of saw that um Tuchel was like visibly not impressed with him. So it wasn't really a surprise. It wasn't really a surprise seeing him benched and then Havertz and Pulisic starting up top. But it was a weird one because the formation changed and we didn't know which formation we're using. So it wasn't really clear what position Havertz be playing, Pulisic be playing. We don't know. We knew definitely without a proper number 9 starting, there will be somebody playing the false 9, and I think it was Havertz that played that. And to be fair, Havertz wasn't really bad on the day, but I don't considering the performances we've seen from Timo Werner, I don't think Timo Werner might have done anything better, like than what Havertz did. Because even when granted, Timo Werner came on for like just latter part of the game, but he still didn't really get much of the ball. I think Cho was better than him when they both came on, and he didn't really get that much of the ball. So like on Werner starting, I wasn't really um worried, but it was the change in formation, the kind of like confusion around how the game will pan out is where my issue was. But I think that was it.
Yeah, I think we can all. I think we all four of us can agree that with the amount of chance Kai Havertz had tonight, I think he should have at least scored at least one of those. Nick, Kai Havertz. I mean, he was still. I wouldn't say he was as bad as some of the players on the team. Or overall, if you look at the team, he had a pretty good performance. Um, Maybe not as good as what he had against Everton, but have we found this new role for Kai Havertz to play in, and it seems to be kind of working out? And would he be better suited playing with Werner rather than on his own?
Yeah, I think Kai was probably our best attacking player today. He was probably, if you look at the grand scheme of things, probably our fourth best player on the pitch after, or fifth best player after Mendy, Rudiger, Kante, and Christensen. As for false nine, I don't mind it in the short term. Long term, I don't see it working out or getting us where we need to go because I think we need a proper striker in there. Which I guess might be talking about that later or whatever. But yeah, it's a tough one. Let's say from now to the end of the season, I don't mind seeing him play as a false nine because it's we've seen it work quite well. Obviously, I think against Atletico, we'll probably see him play slightly deeper, but I don't think Kai Havertz as a false nine is a long-term viable solution. But in the short term, yeah, I think we might as well go with it.
But at the same time, we've kind of got so many options in or as a striker role in the form of Giroud, Tammy Abraham, and Timo Werner. All three can play well in that position on their day. Still, we're having issues with finishing, and even if we do create a chance, we still are not converting them into goals. Alex, how long before this kind of creeps up to us? And yes, at the moment we're keeping clean sheets, so I think overall there's nothing that we can improve from our defense. Um, what's the problem, and how do we solve this? Is it a change in system that's required? Maybe have more attacking players. Maybe go back to a back four, James and Chilwell kind of style as we used to do under Lampard.
Sorry, could you repeat the last part of that question? I didn't quite catch it.
So I was just asking, do we change the system if it's required now? Because the fact that we're creating chances. I'm not going to say we're not creating chances. We're just not finishing them. And maybe do we need to go back to the way Frank Lampard used to line up with four at the back with James and Chilwell and kind of cross in there and hope Giroud or Tammy can kind of score?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, it just seems like, I mean, we tried, I think we started out as a back four today. So some people were saying that maybe it was Pulisic at right wing back, but it definitely looked like, I think as the game kind of grew, it definitely looked like Pulisic was right mid or playing as right winger. So yeah, we were not really finishing or creating that many chances in the back four and also with the back five. So if I'm honest, yeah, I would like to see maybe Giroud. I mean, maybe he was saving. Maybe Tuchel was saving Giroud for Atletico. But to be fair, even in the away leg tie of the Atletico game, Giroud didn't do much other than the goal. So it's a bit of a weird one with Giroud. Like you can in half the games you'll play him and he'll be great. He'll score some clutch goals, but then he'll also have performance. He's got a performance in him where he just doesn't really have an effect on the game. So. And Tammy at the moment, yes, there's worries about him, his game time, but he's not really. He's not. Sorry, I think he's still got an issue. Is it an ankle issue? I think that's why he's got some kind of injury, Tammy, at the moment. So we're not going to see him back for a bit. So
yeah, I think
currently the best option for us at the moment is to go with Havertz at the top. Is in terms of like who's playing the best out of all our attackers. Havertz is definitely up there. He's probably I definitely agree with Nick in that he was our best attacker today. And it's just a shame that it's just some others that don't want to be too negative, but there's some players like Pulisic and Ziak that really weren't up to scratch today, and it's really weird. Or it's going to be interesting to see what we go with for the Atletico game. If Giroud plays, if instead they go with Havertz up top, and then there's no Mount. So, but I'm not sure if I would really be confident with playing Pulisic and Ziak or either of them because it's just not really on form at the moment. But in all fairness, when it comes around to the Champions League, Ziak's levels always just go up somehow. So yeah, perhaps that's the way for at least in the Champions League. But it's a really tough one because especially for Atletico, because we can't play Mount as one of the number 10s. So, but in answer to your original question, yeah, I think that Havertz is the best option for now, and until at least Tammy comes back from his injury, and I don't think we really should have to rely on Giroud for a specific tactic or to.
Yeah. Amart, do you agree with that? Do you agree with Alex and Nick, or have you got your own thoughts on Kai Havertz? And would you like to see Werner or Tammy? Not Tammy at the moment because he's injured. Maybe Werner or Jude to step in and kind of play in that position.
Yeah, I mean, right now with Tommy out, injured, I think it's only Giroud and Werner that we have, and with the kind of system that Tuchel is using, I think if it's not today's system, but like the previous ones that with the previous three at the back system that we've been using, I think it fits um Kai Havertz very well when he's playing as a false nine. So, like both of them said, for the short term, it seems to be working, and he's thriving in that position. I think today he had two shots on targets that were saved, which was very good. I think the second one he could have done better because I think he did the same mistake that Werner did the last time. The far post was wide open, and then he decided to go near post, and the keeper saved. So, but yeah, he's looking very very promising in the role. So for now, without much options, I think it will be okay going with. I'm alright. I'm alright using Havertz as a false nine for now.
Yeah, I think I'll have to agree on both with everyone on this one. I think with the case of Werner, we just really he hasn't been at the best of his game, and I know he's gotten quite a lot of chances with he's got a lot of chances under Tuchel to prove himself, and he's just not been able to. And with Tammy being injured, he's kind of had to be that he's kind of had to be pushed as a number one choice for us at the moment, but still hasn't really shown any improvement. Two other players who've been under the radar by many fans as well as many journalists, Khakim, Ziak, and Christian Pulisic. I think there were some rumors a few weeks back of either one of them leaving at the end of the season if it doesn't work out, and us trying to make up money for Haaland or other players. Nick, do you believe any of that, or is that just fake news? I think the fans are creating just noise
Um,
that's just adding on to all of this drama.
I don't know, man. It's tough. It depends who you really believe, man. If Matt Law or Simon Johnson, Liam Twomey, etc., those people start reporting that stuff, then maybe I'll like listen. But it's understandable. They've both had difficult seasons. Pulisic, I think a lot of the Pulisic noise is sort of drummed up from the American media wanting their star boy to play, and they're desperate for him to. I mean, at the start of last season, I remember when he was struggling to get in the team under Lampard at the start, they were saying, "Oh, should he go on loan?" So I don't really listen to stuff like that. The new managers come in, there's some players maybe not in favour as much. There's bound to be like rumours linking them away. Ziyech maybe is more believable. He's struggled so far really for us, and he's 30 million. That would be fairly easy to recoup. So there's probably more something in that, but I'd like to think Chelsea wouldn't be thinking of selling Pulisic.
And from your own perspective, you wouldn't want to see someone like him walk out of the club at the end of the season, right?
No, I wouldn't want to see either of them walk out. To be honest, like I want him to give him time. I say I don't think we should be really entertaining selling either of those players. What we've just got to work out at the moment is trying to see how we can best accommodate both or accommodate them into the system. And I don't think both of them need to be in the starting 11. I think we can try and be like Manchester City, where they can rest Raheem Sterling or Riyad Mahrez and like rotate between them. I think if that's what we've got to try and aspire to be, where we're in a place where we can rotate all our attacking options and make them work well. Unfortunately, none of our attacking options this season really have performed how we'd like. But no, I wouldn't be looking at selling either of those two players.
Amar, I'll pass the question on to you. I think do you what are your thoughts on the whole Ziak and Pulisic thing at the moment, not being up to the mark and not performing well?
Yeah, I just don't know what the issue is there with Ziyech and Pulisic. I think probably they've not fully recovered from their injuries, or they've not really regained the form that they had before those injuries kind of hit them. And because Ziyech was playing, like, I think the last time I even tweeted out that I don't really understand why he's not showing like the same form, because he was playing very very well. Like, he was playing very very well until the, I think it was against Leeds that he went off. He got injured and went off, and then since then he hasn't really regained um any form like in the past. And then with Pulisic too as well, I think his injuries also is kind of like, it's affecting him mentally, because I think when he regained injury and when he regained fitness and he came back from injury, he wasn't playing like he wanted to. He was playing like he didn't want to get any other injury and go out again. He was playing very safe, and I think that's affected his game for a bit. And I don't know, like, I don't know what the change will be. I don't know how we can get them playing again. I think that's something that um Thomas Tuchel must should work on. But for now, I don't want to see them leave. To be honest, I don't want to see them leave. They are very good players. They are like they are talented players that on if they are on form, like, will be unstoppable. Like, there's no, I don't think any rational Chelsea fan. No offense to people who wanted them to leave, but I don't think any rational Chelsea fan will actually want CH and Pulisic to leave. Yeah. So yeah, I'll prefer they stay.
Yeah, I think I have to agree on both of you, and I think Alex, you've just unmuted you, right? So, um, I think you stand the same way as Nick and Alex. Not Alex, Nick and the Moy.
This Alex guy has a really good opinion. I gotta say, he's really knows what he's talking. No, yeah. I think even at the end of the day, even as winger depth, to have Hakim Ziyech and Christian Pulisic as winger depth is pretty amazing. So even though they're not playing that well at the moment, it doesn't mean we have to get rid of them. They can just be they like the only situation I can even understand them leaving would be if they're unhappy with the game, with not getting enough game time, which I just don't really think is the case at all. So, like, trying to get rid of them, I just can't understand it. It's definitely something. Nick's definitely right, I think, in that it kind of all came about when ESPN put out some stuff about was Chelsea the right choice, or this, or something to that effect, some words to that effect. I think when he's not been starting every single week, and deservedly so. At the end of the day, it's not just him. There's a lot of Chelsea attackers who just aren't. It's not happening for them at the moment, and it's not really happening for Pulisic at the moment. Is the difference between Pulisic now and the Pulisic of Project Restart is kind of nice and day, but it doesn't mean that we have to get rid of him. I mean, yes, I'm still worried about his injury problems and his injury record, and it seems like he's got some kind of newer injury every other couple of weeks. But to at least have him on the bench, available to come on and make a difference, it's very good. I think it's fine. I think to have Ziak and Pulisic as winger depth it's better winger depth than pretty much any other club than what Nick said in City, that they can afford to say rest Sterling and Mahrez and say we could be. I mean, sorry, I'm rambling a bit now, but it's something similar to City in that, I mean, to have that kind of depth on the bench to bring on. I mean, I don't think anyone would have it. Nobody has better winger depth than us in Christian Pulisic and Ziak. So yeah, I really don't understand why anyone would say, "Oh, we need to actively try to sell them." It just makes no sense to me. And yes, they're not playing well, but doesn't mean you have to lose hope or just completely abandon any hopes of them turning it around, because they think they can. Both of them have shown their qualities in the past.
Yeah, I think.
I think I think I
So I just
go
want to
for it.
make
Go for it.
I just want to make a comment about ESPN. I think ESPN, they can't use Pulisic to clickbait their fans anymore. That's why they want him to play, because last season I think almost all their videos had Pulisic somewhere in it. So, and they were getting a lot of views on YouTube, and they want that again. They want that kind of attention again. They want that kind of um, um, view count again, and they are not getting it. That's why they are a bit salty about Pulisic not starting.
ESPN were coming after you. No, no. I think I agree with all three of you. I think essentially the fans want the Pulisic that we saw after restart, and I think that Pulisic was incredible. And you have to kind of just sit back and say he's had so many injuries this season. He's had such a rough patch this season, and every player kind of has that. And I think Ziak and both Pulisic both had hamstring injuries, or injuries around the same areas, where they've both been having a rough patch. And it's unlucky for Chelsea to have two world class players out at the same time, or not been performing at the same time. But luckily, as you guys again said, that we've got the depth, and we should be able to convert the depth that we've got into chances, into goals, and into wins and fight. Because I realistically do think, and I'm trying to think ahead of maybe even this season, and I'm trying to think of next season if we continue to just draw our games, and if we don't go on a string of wins as Man City did, and now they look like they're going to become champions. I feel like this could be another one of those managers who gets sacked within a year or two. And I think Roman Abramovich, he doesn't like sitting around without a Premier League trophy next to him. And it's been, I think, 3 years. No, not 3 years. It's been 6 years at the end of the season. Last time we won was 2016, right?
2017 was when we
17.
lifted it. But I mean, just to add on to that, I
yeah,
highly
yeah,
doubt that Abramovich is going to sit around. It's a certainty that we're going to try and strengthen in attack this summer. It's the clear problem with the team at the moment that we're just not making the right choices, and we don't have an absolute amazing finisher, even though we kind of thought Timo Werner would be that. But yeah, it's clear what we need in the summer. Be really surprised if we have to keep having this problem for much longer.
Yeah, I think we need to work on that as soon as possible. But another player who's been having a rough patch, and Chilwell, I think I will start this conversation by saying I think the last game or the game before he started, I think the last two games, he played, I guess, well enough. Not the best of performances, but again, it's Chilwell playing in a left wing back position rather than a left back position, something that he's more accustomed to. Amart, are we thinking? I think when Lampard did get sacked, there were a lot of rumors about how Chilwell was the only player that he wanted because he fit in that system so well in a four at the back. But now that we've switched to a three, is Alonso the better choice overall over Chilwell, or today was just kind of a performance which just needs to be brushed off and he can come back into the team?
Yeah, I think in the it's the systems. The systems work suits their abilities better. Like when we play three at the back, it suits Alonso. When we play four at the back, it suits um Chilwell. But it doesn't mean that they are just restricted to those um style of play, because we've seen Chilwell do well this season in the three back, and we've seen him do well as well in the four back. Same as Alonso, even though we know it's not his like best system to play in, but we've seen him doing well as well. So I think for today, I just think Chilwell wasn't really um like our other like he wasn't really an attacker, but like on the offense, he didn't really do that much. I think in the first half there were like one or two crosses that he did, but I think he just delayed a bit, and especially in the first half, I think I was frustrated with him because I felt like there was a chance that he could have passed or crossed the ball earlier to Pulisic when he was free, but he took his time and raised his head up to see who was available before he even crossed the ball. Like that kind of quick thinking is something that we might get from Alonso because of his like attacking mindset, because he will just fling the ball in regardless of who he thinks is there or not. He will give in a good cross, but with Chilwell, he took his time, and the defenders got back quick enough to defend those crosses that he was putting through. So I think like in the second half wasn't really his best half. I think he had a chance that he squandered. He had a chance that he could have put us a goal up, and then he kind of miskicked the ball, and it went just wide. And I think that was what a lot of people were frustrated with. And then there were some runs, there were some pointless runs too that he made. Like he made some runs into like on the wings, but his crosses were always poor. And I think that was also an issue when Bielsa changed Harrison, because he was actually having a good game with Harrison next to him. Like Harrison didn't really couldn't match Chilwell with his pace, and but when he changed Harrison and brought Costa in, I think Costa really gave him a run for his money. I think probably Costa had fresher legs, and I think he was faster than Harrison as well, so he didn't really give him the light of day. And unfortunately, he has been scapegoated as like one of our worst performance of the day, which I don't really agree with. But it's how social media is nowadays. Even though there are a lot of players playing and a lot of players that have had bad games, like you always get one player that is scapegoat. But I wouldn't mind seeing him like with the way he performed today. I don't think Tuchel will use him against Atletico Madrid. I think we'll go with Alonso, but I wouldn't really mind seeing him against Atletico Madrid, because I think it's just a one-off game. It's not really something that we've seen bad performances from him in the past. We've seen good performances from him in past games, so we can't really write him off just yet, just because um, he didn't do well today. And yeah, and to the first thing that you said, yeah, a lot of people were definitely worried when Lampard kind of left, because Chilwell was his player, like you said, Chilwell was his player. So it was always worrying to see whether the next manager would actually use him or not. But like picking him over with like putting him side by side with Alonso, like irrespective of the system that we play, I think Chilwell is always the better player. No offense to Alonso. I think Alonso is very good offensively. I think that's where he shines the most. But with Chilwell, you can get offense and get defense at the same time, even though the offense doesn't match up to Alonso's defense or offense. But yeah, I mean, bad performance, but I don't think you need to write him off.
Yeah, I think I think we've had 34 minutes of pretty much negative talk about Chelsea, but I guess one positive to look at the moment is the Chelsea defense. Even though Chilwell didn't play really well, I think Rudiger was a good performer in that back four as well as a back five when we changed. But let's talk a bit about Mendy. I think he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Um, and and Nick, how I think if you had to say signing of the summer, would you? I think the contenders would have to be Thiago Silva or Edouard Mendy. I'd like to ask you who would you pick out of those two?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say maybe because Thiago Silva's been injured recently and we've not really missed him. I'd side more towards saying Edouard Mendy. What a signing he's been, man. Honestly, like we just look such a different team. I'm so much more confident watching us when we've got him in goal. And he saved us today. He's got us that point today. He's made some big saves there. And that's what you want from your goalkeeper. When you don't play well and don't really deserve to win the game, at least don't lose it. And he's made sure we've not lost today. He was, yeah, immense. And what a signing he's been for us.
Alex, who would you pick out of the two?
Yeah, it's got to be Mendy at the moment. Not because Thiago Silva hasn't been bad or anything. Thiago Silva's been fantastic when he's come in, but like Nick said, we haven't really missed him recently because Christensen's decided to be Danish Maldini essentially for the past ever since Tuchel's come in. So we haven't really missed Thiago Silva, but the effect that Mendy has, not just being a good shot stopper, but the calmness, the whole defensive unit just seems much more relaxed and much more in control of things when Mendy's in goal as opposed to Kepa. And it's just, yeah, the effect that he's had on the team is, especially the defense, and it's just brilliant, I think. And the fact that we don't have to be scared at every single corner is I think it's quite underrated. Underrated. So yeah, he's been a fantastic piece of business, and that now it takes us up to level with City for most clean sheets in the league this season at 15. So
Yeah,
I think he's on
true.
9, and I think he's on 19 clean sheets, which is for the whole of the season, including cup competitions and all. So yeah, it's just been a fantastic piece of business, and the effect that he's had, not just being a good shot stopper, but just the calming influence that he's been on the team. Sometimes money can't, but sometimes it's not about spending an infinite amount of money on a keeper. It's just about spending the right money and spending on someone who's just going to make the rest of the defense be less on edge. So yeah, Mendy's been absolutely fantastic piece of business, and the signing of the summer so far. But for that, I think we'll definitely change that opinion in a couple, probably in next season or in a couple of seasons once our other signings start to really pick up the pace.
Yeah. Amart, your thoughts and your player of the signing of the season?
Yeah, definitely it's going to be Mendy. Like they said, he's saved us so many times this season, and I think the clean sheets that he's had is like a testament to how confident he has been, how like organized he has been able to make his like defensive lineup, and yeah. So yeah, the same things today in particular. He was very very good. Like that fingertip save he made. I've forgotten what the player it was, but he did made a good save. Was it a shot from Roberts or somebody like that? And he made a fingertip save that pushed it on the bar on the post. Like I mean, it's a very good performance from him. It was one of our better performers today. And there was another shot, the other save that he made that he had to think fast and make a quick reflex save to a rebound shot that was coming in, and he did fair. I mean, today he was like I said earlier, he was one of the better players today. And Thiago Silva, like both Alex and Nick said, Thiago Silva has been excellent as well. He's been very very good, but like because we haven't really missed him, it doesn't really like when he left, he hasn't really left a hole there. He hasn't really left a void in defense because Christensen has been very good, and Rudiger and Aspi and Zuma, they've all been good. So, but like, would we say the same thing if Mendy is gone as well? Probably not. So that is where the importance comes from. So Mendy has really proved himself, and the confidence he has, like the reassurance he gives the defenders right in front of him, and the fans as well watching, because like Nick said, I really worry whenever we have any like corners or free kicks or like any sort of counter attack against us and stuff like that. Definitely, as a Chelsea fan, you'll be a little bit worried, but not like first. So, yeah, he has been the signing of the season for me. Almost the 2 year he has been.
I think as much as I love Kepa, and as I know the fans are going to hate me for saying this, but yeah, I think Mendy has to be the signing of the season. He's done wonders for Chelsea. I think there was a patch right at the end of Frank Lampard's spell where we kind of just kept conceding goals, and now Tuchel's come in and we've changed systems. We've technically become defensively impossible to break down, and I think as overall, I think there's nothing that we can really improve on defense. I think everything's been going our way. Yes, occasionally you'll concede that one or two goals, but um, yeah, I think that covers up most of the review for Leeds. Anything you guys want to add on before we move on? I've got a few fan questions that I want to ask Nick, and Kamal has sent in a very interesting question for three of us.
I'm not sure it's been brought up, boys, but as per Quer, I thought, you said people piling in on Chilwell. I thought Aspi was pretty poor today as well. I don't know what you boys thought on that, but I thought, and he was probably one of our worst performers on the pitch today, alongside Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, I agree. Especially going forward, he's just on the ball. He's just not the best, and definitely understand why Reece James got introduced, but he didn't get subbed off for Reece James though, which is interesting, I guess, because we went to the back five. But yeah, on the ball, not the best from Aspi today. So yeah, I agree. He didn't have a good game.
I think we saw his weaknesses today because of the system we played. We started with the four back because he really isn't good in the four back as a, like because with the four he's required to move forward a lot. He's required to go up the pitch and like replicate what Chilwell was doing, but he doesn't have the legs for that. And yeah, so yeah, I think that's where the issue was.
Yeah, I'll have to. This comes from someone who didn't watch the game, so from the highlights, I didn't see much of Aspie on there, so I didn't really bring that point up. But I think looking overall, performance wasn't great, so I wouldn't be expecting anything better or worse from either player at Chelsea. Um, yeah, I think that's the review for this game. I guess Chelsea nil, Leeds nil, another draw for Tuchel, but continues his unbeaten run both in the Premier League and across all competitions. I think is it 13 games now, if I'm not wrong, and we sit fourth place with West Ham having 2 games in hand. So if they do win their game, I think they play today or whenever this podcast goes out, so they have a chance of going ahead of us. Um, as well as Everton, who can catch up to us or be between 1 or 2 points behind us. But yeah, fan questions. We got a few on Instagram. Let me start off with that, and then we'll move on to that. So Akash asks Nick what he thinks of our midfield next season. Who does he think the first choice pivot will be next season? And I'm assuming that's if we play the same kind of tactic and we continue with the same formation.
Um, if it's the same formation and say it's the midfield we've got currently, I can't say first choice because I think it's game dependent. What's been abundantly clear of Tuchel is his lineups. A lot of them are, match up depending who we're playing. So it will be two of Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic, I believe, in the pivot. Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a first choice. I think it's more opposition dependent, as we've seen. We saw, what was it, Jorginho and Kante against Liverpool. We saw Kante and Kovacic against Man United. We saw Kovacic and Jorginho against Everton, and today we saw Jorginho and Kante against Leeds. So I don't think there's like a first choice pivot. I think it's more opposition and game dependent, to be honest.
Any of you both want to comment on that?
Yeah, I guess it's all dependent on if we bring in anyone else to compete for DM, and yeah, I'd like to think that Kante still. I mean, yeah, like Nick said, it's going to be game dependent, but I'd like to see a more physical midfielder brought in. I don't know who. I mean, whether it's Rice, but you never know with the huge rumored price tag and maybe some. There's a few names coming out of France, so yeah, not really sure on that. But I'd like to see either. Yeah, it all depends on the game, but perhaps, I mean, it would be nice to see Kante paired next to someone who's a really good physical presence, similar to maybe the Kante Matic partnership we saw under the Conte title winning era or title winning season. So yeah, it's definitely going to be the usual suspects, plus hopefully a new addition that is quite physical. That would be my answer.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think I'm not sure if that's saying we want Declan Rice, but I think that would be our main target. But then also that depends on if we. I think we're prioritizing signing a striker over a midfielder because of the options that we've got in midfield. But the next question that we've got at the moment, Ayush asks, what do you make of the resurgence of Christensen and Rudiger? Should we be looking for a centre back in the summer? Amart, should we be looking for a centre back in the summer?
I don't really think so. I think we already have. I don't know. I think Thiago Silva might stay at least another year, and then I don't know. I still believe in Tomori. I don't know why. Like a lot of people have kind of given up on the guy, and I still think he can do well because he's done very well against for AC Milan. So I mean, he can still fit in the Chelsea squad. He can still play in this Chelsea team. He still deserves a chance in this Chelsea team. So for me, I really don't want us to um, um, buy a new defender over Tomori. If we sell Tomori, fine. Like he deserves it. He deserves to start day in day out. But if we don't, I think he'll be like he'll best suit the system.
I think I'll have to agree on that one as well. I feel like I've agreed with everything you guys have said this whole podcast, but we don't really need a centre back, do we? Now I think we've got enough options, and with three at the back, Christensen, as Alex likes to say, he's the Danish Maldini, so I don't see anyone else replacing him in there. And then with Zuma being an option, Aspi, I mean, yes, tonight wasn't his greatest performance, but overall he's had a good run of games. And Rudiger as well, and then with Thiago Silva, if he's back hopefully against Atletico and then stays fit for the whole of next season, I do see him staying at Chelsea and making an impact. Yeah, I think the last question that we got, I think I'll just clear this up for everyone else. We did get a few other questions about Khakim, Ziak and Christian Pulisic, but they've kind of been answered throughout this podcast. So, as well as Kai Havertz, so we've kind of just answered them, and I don't think we want to repeat the same things over and over again. But Kamal, I don't know if you guys saw that question as well, because it was on Twitter. He said, "Who's your favorite co-host and why?"
Well,
should I put Alex on the spot again?
No, I think we should give us to Nick immediately.
Yeah, we can't answer that. Like we'll obviously be biased. Either we'll pick each other or we'll pick ourselves.
No,
so
I'm
think
obviously
Nick...
biased towards Amart. Sorry.
Alex, you forgot to mute.
Yeah, I know. No, I didn't forget. I wanted to say.
Yeah, I know.
Who do I go with? Do I go with the person who always gets our guests on, or do I go with the guy who always agrees with everything we say? So
and puts me on the spot.
Yeah. So, I can't. You can't. It's an impossible question. It doesn't deserve an answer because love them both too much.
Yeah, I think he directed it to Nick. I think he wanted Nick to answer that.
Oh no!
Go for it, Nick.
Right.
Nick,
the stage is yours.
I can't. This is a no-win for me, really. Well, as I said, Amart reached out to me, so I feel like I'm inclined to go with him.
And remember, we had a discussion about James Acaster as well. So
yes, we have that. You're correct. We have spoken about James Acaster as well on Twitter before. So yeah, I'll go with Amart. Sorry. Yeah. No, nothing against the other two. I feel bad now. No, actually, I can't.
It's a very good choice.
I've got to change. No, I will change to Mohammed because he bigged me up at the start of the podcast and said none of my pods. So I'll go Mohammed.
Yeah.
Alex, do you want to change your favorite co-host now?
Sure. I can't pick Mohammed because he just destroys us in our score prediction league every single week. And even this week when I thought, oh, wait, we've got a 0-0 draw, but Mohammed and Amart predicted 2-0. Oh, yes, I'm going to get some points out of this. And then I go and check that I predicted a 3-0 win. I'm like, oh, great. This is going to be great for our league. So, yeah, I'm going... I'm going Mohammed because he paid me about 50 minutes ago to say this. But yeah, I'll say Mohammed.
Wait, he also paid me. So what are you?
I think let's just
more of the story.
So Alex is going with Amart. I'll go with Amart, and then Amart, you can pick me. So it's fair enough.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
We'll cut this bit out.
But guests have the highest weighting though, so I think more of the story, Mohammed wins. So yeah, there we go. Right.
All right. Moving on to Atletico with a bit of a more serious matter in hand. 1-0 up in the first leg. I think this is one game any Chelsea fan will take a draw. Nick, would you agree?
Oh, yeah, all we've got to do is just get the job done and progress, boys, honestly. And after today, I'll happily take a 0-0. It'll be stressful, but if we get the same result as we do today, then happy days, man.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, they're going to make it difficult for us. If they say get a goal or get into a situation where we actually have to go at Atletico, they're going to make it such a difficult time for us. You've seen it in previous years where they've come to away, or they've come to Anfield, they've come to Stamford Bridge in the past, and just made it extremely difficult for the team that's playing them. So yeah, really don't want to have to actually do anything again. I really don't want the team to actually have to do anything against Atletico. Just defend, do what we do best, do not concede. We don't even have to score as long as we don't concede. So yeah, just play all of our number sixes and no striker, flat out 7 at the back, and that easy win. I think that's
Amart, do we want to get a hold of Jose Mourinho for this game and just tell him to play 9 at the back or something?
I think for some of our games, I think Tuchel has been channeling his inner Mourinho already. Whenever we go a goal up or 2 goals up, we tend to park the bus and stop anything from coming through. So I think we should do the same thing with Atletico Madrid. I think if we score, like, it will put the fans at ease a bit. But if we don't and we come out with a goalless draw, I think, I mean, I'm okay with it. Whether a goalless draw, whatever it is that we get, but we should get a draw and come out and progress. We haven't progressed from the round 16 in a very long time, and we need to get out of that rat that we are in. So yeah, I mean, they'll definitely worry us. I don't think they'll be as defensive as they were when we played them at home, but we played them away. But I think this time they'll play all out, and probably that is where we might also get a chance to exploit their backline a bit if they play with the high line. I don't think they aren't known for playing with the high line, but usually when teams are that desperate to score goals, they tend to come forward a bit more. So starting with Werner might help in a game like that, and we might kind of like get the best out of our players. And I hope we just qualify. That's all.
Yeah. I'm not going to say the word I agree. And I'll say my own opinion on this. I'll say we need a win or a draw, and essentially, I guess, however we do it, I just the thing is, the way I'm looking at it is, even if we do go past Atletico right now with Chelsea's luck, we're probably going to get Bayern Munich in the next round. If not Bayern Munich, then is there country protection in the next round? I don't think so, right?
No, I don't think so.
No,
It's,
Yeah, so watch us get Man City or Bayern Munich, and it could either be we win against them and we win the Champions League. But Nick, that one, serious question. Don't laugh at this, but Champions League winners this year?
It's possible, boys. If we get past Atletico, then who knows? It depends on the draw, man. Honestly, the way we're set up and we're defensively sound, it's kind of perfect for the Champions League. We've just got to try and be more clinical in front of goal. But realistically, I don't, maybe the quarterfinals, depending on the draw, might be as far as we get. But even then, that in itself is progress. So, I mean, we can win the Champions League, because why not? If we get past Atletico, but realistically, no, Bayern Munich will be too strong, I think. And then, yeah, probably City. To be fair, though, I'd say Bayern Munich and Man City are the only 2 teams I really, desperately hope we avoid. PSG wouldn't be ideal, but that might be able to deal with them. Might be.
And who would have thought we would be progressing the round of 16, Alex, with Christensen and Rudiger in the back 3-4?
It'll be the first, if we do, I mean, not to jump the gun, but it'll be the first time that we've gone past the round of 16 since we won the league with Mourinho, 14-15, I think. Or did we even progress then? I actually don't think we did, because we came up against PSG. We literally, those were the years where UEFA decided that we were going to play PSG every single time we got past the group stages. But I think we in the 14-15 we also lost to PSG. In the round of 16. So it was
Louise.
Yeah, So it was It was 13-14 where we got to the semi-finals. That was the last time we got past around 16. So that would be good. And it's also the other record is that I think that Atletico haven't been knocked out of a Champions League by a team that's not had Ronaldo in it, or is that from a stat from like a couple of years ago and it doesn't apply anymore?
Well,
I think
I
it's
guess
true.
last year they lost to Leipzig, didn't they?
Oh yes, yeah. So well.
And then I think
we could be
I think the one
I think
one positive stat that I go
sorry.
for it, Amart.
No, I
Go for it.
I'm kind of like 80% sure that you are going to say the same thing, but I think I read somewhere that like the teams that had an advantage before they went into um the second leg all went through it. I think that's last week, right? So um that's this week. Yeah, okay, this week rather, yeah. So this next week, hopefully, the teams that also have the advantage going into the games will also sail through. I'm just saying, like I just read that thing that somewhere, so I'm just hoping it works.
Yeah, I think the fact that I was going to say was that I read it somewhere. I don't know how much of this is true, but the last time we won an away fixture in the knockout stage of the Champions League, we ended up winning the Champions League. So I'm guessing that would have been 2012.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all of these superstitions, a lot of these facts and probabilities are no match for the actual game. So let's head into the lineups. And then start with the goalkeeper. Anyone want to risk their life and want to play Kepa in goal?
Yeah, throw it a chance. Just he's Spanish
Make the
at the
game
end of the day,
interesting.
so he knows Atletico better than any other player than Mendy. So no, yeah, it's got to be Mendy, and I think it's coming to a point where we can just skip goalkeeper. I think almost.
And in the back three as well, do you guys want to skip that, or do we see Nick? Do we see Thiago Silva coming back and replacing either Aspi because of his performance tonight, or Rudiger? Because I don't think we want to drop Christensen, do we?
No, I don't think we see Silva. Didn't Tuchel say he's still not quite
Yeah.
right? He's still
Yeah.
Not quite recovered from the injury, so he won't be rushed in against Atletico. So no, I think it'll be the same back three: Azpilicueta, Christensen, and Rudiger.
Yeah, same.
And Amart, none of that back four.
No, I don't think so. The back four thing didn't work. I don't think it has worked properly for Tuchel since he took over. So I don't really think he'll use it against Atletico Madrid.
Okay. The midfield, I guess we don't really have a lot of options, so we can really skim through this since I think Jorginho's suspended, Mount is suspended. I would say Kante, Kovacic, and Kai Havertz. Then those three have to start then for us.
Yeah, I think it'll be Havertz probably further forward. It'll be the only choice in the central or deep midfield is it's got to be Kante and Kovacic. Would be hugely surprised if Gilmore got the chance, especially in a game that so much riding on it. So yeah, Kante, Kovacic, Alonso, and I'm sorry to kind of mess up the format that you just kind of described, but yeah,
Go for it. I keep forgetting the fullbacks.
Alonso, Kante, Kovacic, and it's got to be James. I think we need to be defensive. I think just keep our solidity, keep the back five. We know it's solid. As long as we don't concede, they can't. Yeah, we'll go through. So yeah, play James as well, a right wing back.
Nick, you agree with that?
Yeah, man, I'd go with that as well.
And Amart
Yeah.
as well. You'll agree with that as well then.
Yeah, we really don't have any options in that regard, so we'll definitely go with that.
And then I'm guessing, so we've established Kai Havertz, and then the final two up top. That'll be an interesting one. So I'll ask everyone on their own. Nick, your two up top, or do you want to play someone right next to Kai Havertz and further up top?
So I'd have Kai playing where Mason would be playing. I'd have. I don't really. Is it fair? I don't think. Would we see Callum up there? I'm not so sure. I reckon I'd start Giroud. It might be controversial, but I think with a game against Atletico, it kind of makes sense to start Giroud. But then, with Timo on the bench today, was that an indication for Atletico that he'd start Timo? I don't think Atletico would be the game for Timo, to be honest. So I'd go Giroud up top. And then Ziyech and Havertz, but you could easily have maybe Timo behind Giroud. But I'd go Giroud, Ziak, Havertz.
Yeah, I would probably go the same. I mean, it's not. I agree that it's definitely probably not the game for Werner. That Atletico are going to sit deep. There's not going to be much space for Timo in behind. So, yeah, definitely don't play him. And you've got James that is crossing ability. So why not play Giroud? And also Alonso can put in, has proven recently, he can put in a good ball. So I would definitely play. And as well, Giroud's our top scorer in the Champions League, even though kind of that got a little bit stat padded by Sevilla, but still, I think getting one goal in this game would be crucial, would be really big because then they've got to go and score two. So that's that's a great Michael Owen comment right there. Sorry, but play Giroud, play Havertz, and I would play Ziak because whenever the Champions League comes around, he always raises his level. Even though in the past couple of weeks when Ziak's not been particularly good in any of the games he's played, other than I think against Atletico when he came off the bench and he looked pretty sharp. So the guy just turns up in the Champions League at the end of the day. So if we're gonna have him and just make the most of him and play him in the Champions League, I think he's proven that it's pretty clear that he raises his game for it. So I would play him. So same as Nick's essentially.
Amart, would yours have any changes, or would you go with the same one?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I really can't leave CH out when it comes to Champions League, and he's a different kind of player when we play in the Champions League, or he plays in the Champions League. So definitely, I think I'm going to go with theirs as well. ZH, Havertz, and Giroud. Initially, I was thinking to go with Havertz and then Giroud and Werner up top, and I'm suspecting that is what Tuchel will go with because of Ziyech's performance today. But me personally, I would prefer Ziyech, Havertz, and Giroud up top. Sorry.
I think I agree with. I kind of agree, and at the same time, I'm kind of thinking that we do say this might not be the game for Werner because Atletico like to sit deep, but essentially, what I'm trying to work out is if Atletico would want to go at the start and say no, we're not going to sit deep, we're going to try and attack and get the first goal early because we're not coming to Stamford Bridge and just getting a goal and winning on away goals. We're coming here and we're finishing the game as soon as possible. So either they start off on the front foot and they have a high line, which could really help Werner, and for him to get a few chances and maybe even convert one of those and kill the tie at the start. Or he could be very essential for us when he comes on maybe 60th, 70th minute, where Atletico are forced, if it's 0-0, or forced to attack and are forced to bring men forward and try and create chances. And that's when we use Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. So it'll be a tricky situation for Thomas Tuchel to pick one, but I'll go with the same front three as you guys with Kai, Ziak, and Timo Werner. Oh, sorry, not Timo Werner. Olivier Giroud. Just before we end this kind of thing, Mason Mount. I think he hasn't missed any. I think he's been part of most of the games at Chelsea, or at least the big ones. This is one that he misses out. Nick, we know the impact he can have on a game. He can change the game around on his own. There's been times where Chelsea on its own have been switched off, but Mason Mount has turned the tie around. So how much are Chelsea going to miss him, and how big of a responsibility is this for Kai Havertz to prove himself and kind of just cement his place?
Yeah, it's a huge miss, Mason. I think albeit I don't think he was great today, but there's no doubt that like the energy he brings to this team, he's more than that. He's more than pressing, but he has clearly been our best player this season. So not having him for a game like this is going to be huge. But again, I think Kai Havertz some of his best performances for Chelsea again have been in the Champions League. I think that Sevilla game we won 4-0, he was pretty good then. So yeah, I'm worried. I'm a bit nervous for it because not to be fair, not really because we're missing Mason, because I trust the the rest of the players out on the pitch to do the job. And, I don't think Mason is as big a blow as losing one of those, 3 defenders, to be fair. But it won't be, it's going to, let's be real, Chelsea aren't going to make it an easy night. So it's going to be a very, very nervy 90 minutes and who knows, maybe even extra time and pens, but hopefully not.
They wouldn't be Chelsea if it's an easy qualification progress. Chelsea in Champions League nights, it's a story on its own. Alex, do you agree with Nick on that one? It's not a big, as he said, not as big of a blow as any of the defenders might have been. And again, your thoughts on Kai Havertz proving himself.
At the end of the day, we have a lot of depth for these positions, whereas in defence, we just don't really want to. If either Christensen, Rudiger, or Aspi, or particularly Christensen or Rudiger got injured or were suspended, I would be much more worried because we don't really have. We'd have to play Zuma in there, and he's not so great in the back three. So, it is a shame. I mean, I thought Mount was pretty good in the reverse tie against Atletico. So, it'll be a shame, but Kai Havertz is more than capable, and it's definitely, I think, it's a really good chance to show to the world that he's not washed up. There's just so many, or not washed up's not the right word, but it's just there's been so many doubters of Havertz, rightfully so. Sorry, criticism on his head that a lot of it has been deserved, but he's had an extremely tough time at Chelsea. So it'd be really nice to see him really start to kick on, and he absolutely 100% deserves the chance to start this game to show what he's made of. And like Nick said, he's been great, or he's had good performances in the Champions League so far, and I'm more than happy for him to replace Mason Mount in that position and get Drew to come back in and have Ziak as well. So I'm really confident with that front three. I think that's probably the best. If we're going to field any front three at the moment without Mason Mount, then that's probably the best we've got currently. But happy with, so it'll be all right, I think.
Yeah. Amart, your thoughts on the situation with Mount?
Yeah, I mean, any game without Mason is definitely a big blow, but I think we can. I think with the team we have, we can manage without him. Even though, he's been the one like calling the shots. He's been the one like bringing out performances game in game out, like consistent performances game in game out, and definitely without him in the squad, it's going to be very difficult because he was one of the better players when we played Atletico away, and he will definitely be missed. But I feel like this is the time Havertz also has to prove himself that he can also be a reliable player in that position. So it's a big it will be a big task, but I just feel like since we'll be more defensive, I feel like we'll be more defensive. I think we'll be all right.
Yep. Yeah, I think the defensive players are more important than Mason Mount, and then I think in a game like this where even a draw would be as good as a win, it is very important to make sure all 3 of our main defenders are fit, which hopefully they are throughout the game. So I think that covers up the preview of Atletico. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Nick, for coming on the podcast. It was great having you, and thank you, Amart, for inviting Nick. Taking away my spot for the favorite co-host.
The man delivers. Amart delivers. He always, he's our guest. He's our guest go-to guy. So,
I mean, we have to thank him also for accepting, because I didn't think he would, but he did. It was a long shot, and
who do you take me for, Amart? Who do you take me for? Some big guy? I'm too big for you guys? What? You can't afford me? What?
No. We've had so many rejections in the past month or two. So
in all seriousness, boys. In all seriousness, look, I know what it's like trying to get guests on. Thankfully, I try and get people on who I like interact with and talk with, so they normally say yes. But look, I'm in similar boat. You guys just doing a podcast. You do a podcast with your mates because because it's good fun, don't you? And you love talking about Chelsea. So look, get asked on. I'm not going to turn you guys down. You know, it's been a good discussion tonight, and it's been a real pleasure. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'll have to come and see you and get tips on how you get guests on, because I think you've got Stanford Church on. I don't know how you did that, because you have some
Oh,
serious
yeah,
you have some
no, I'm
serious guests
quite.
on.
You just got to interact with people, boys. Just interact with people on the
That's
timeline,
true.
and you'll be
That's true.
set, man. I've interacted with Chidge. I've got quite a few guys from the Chelsea Fancast and some of the guys from the Chelsea Social on. They're all just really nice guys, happy to come on and be invited. So it's no biggie. And to say, if you boys, want me to put in a word with trying to get you guys any guests, let me know and I can try.
Yeah, appreciate it.
That's really kind. Yeah, much appreciated that. And
all right, I think that's the end of the podcast. If you guys are listening to this on YouTube, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and add it to your playlist, or comment below what you thought of the podcast and what you thought of our review and your predictions for Atletico and Chelsea for the end of the season. If you're listening to this on an audio platform, make sure to subscribe and add it to your playlist. It does mean a lot. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this season. Make sure to check out all of our articles on our website and follow all of our social media pages for daily content as well as edits, as well, including discussions in the comments that we usually do, as well as predicted lineups. And you'll see all 3 of our separated lineups on there right before the game, but I'm guessing it'll be probably the same thing for all 3 of us. All right, that's it from us. Thank you guys for listening in, and we'll see you next time.